Nobody lives when a plane's roof tears off at 24,000 feet. The pilots lose control. The plane will crash in minutes. But one small passenger got up, walked through the wild wind, and told the pilots how to land. The Pentagon looked for her for months. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Thursday afternoon, April 28, 1988. Hilo International Airport, Hawaii. Gate 4. The sun is warm on your face as you walk across the tarmac toward Aloha Airlines Flight 243. The smell of jet fuel mixes with the sweet scent of plumeria flowers from the leis that tourists wear around their necks. It is another beautiful day in paradise. You are boarding the Boeing 737-200. Your seat is 19F. A window seat. You always request window seats on these inter-island flights. You like watching the ocean pass beneath you. The deep blue water. The white caps of waves. Sometimes you can even spot whales or dolphins if you look carefully. The aircraft is old. You can tell immediately. The carpet is faded in the high-traffic areas. The seats show wear. Small tears in the fabric here and there. The overhead bins have scratches and dents. This particular Boeing 737 has been flying these inter-island routes for 19 years. Nearly 2 decades of taking off and landing. Nearly 2 decades of passengers. Nearly 2 decades of pressurization cycles that stress the aluminum skin. But that does not worry you. These inter-island flights are routine. Safe. The flight to Honolulu will take only 35 minutes. Just a quick hop across the channel. You have made this trip dozens of times before. Everyone in Hawaii has. It is like taking a bus, except you fly. 89 passengers are boarding today. Most are locals. You can tell by their relaxed demeanor. They wear aloha shirts and shorts. Flip-flops. They carry beach bags and surfboards. They chat easily with each other in that friendly island way. A few are tourists. Also obvious. They have sunburned noses and new-looking beach clothes. They take photos of everything. Even the inside of the plane. The cabin fills with the sounds and smells of island life. Someone carries a bag with fresh malasadas from a bakery in Hilo. The sweet smell of the Portuguese donuts makes your mouth water. A group of surfers in the back rows laugh about the waves they caught that morning. A mother tries to quiet her fussy toddler. Someone else discusses dinner plans for when they get to Honolulu. You settle into seat 19F. Pull out a magazine from your bag. A travel magazine with pictures of beaches and resorts. You flip through it idly. Not really reading. Just passing time until takeoff. 5 rows ahead, in seat 12C, a woman boards the aircraft. You notice her immediately. Not because she is loud or flashy. The opposite. She moves differently from everyone else. Where other passengers fumble with bags and bump into seat backs, she moves with controlled precision. Every movement economical. Purposeful. Like a dancer. Or a martial artist. Or someone with military training. She appears to be in her late 20s. Asian features. Chinese or Japanese, you think, though you cannot be sure. She is small. Maybe 5 feet 3 inches tall. Petite but clearly athletic. You can see the definition in her forearms as she lifts her bag into the overhead bin. Not gym muscles. Functional strength. She wears khaki cargo pants with many pockets. A plain black t-shirt that has been washed so many times it is faded to charcoal gray. Her dark hair is pulled back in a simple, functional ponytail. No makeup. No jewelry. No watch even. Just a simple black hair tie. She carries a military-style duffel bag. Olive green canvas. The kind soldiers use. It shows significant wear. Scuff marks. Faded areas where the sun has bleached the fabric. And most tellingly, there are faded rectangular outlines on the side. Unit patches that have been removed. Deliberately removed. Which means she does not want people to know where she serves or what she does. She takes seat 12C. The middle seat. Not the window. Not the aisle. The middle. The worst seat on any plane. But she does not seem to care. She settles in without fuss. Buckles her seatbelt. Then closes her eyes immediately. Puts in white earbuds. And sits perfectly still. Not fidgeting. Not shifting position. Not reading or looking at her phone. Just sitting. Perfectly still. With the kind of disciplined stillness that comes from extensive training. The kind of stillness you only see in people who have learned to wait. To conserve energy. To remain alert while appearing asleep. Every few minutes, her eyes open briefly. She scans the cabin. Not casually. Not the way a bored passenger looks around. Her scan is methodical. Systematic. Starting at the front. Moving to the back. Checking exits. Evaluating passengers. Looking for threats. Then her eyes close again. Back to that perfect stillness. You notice her hands as she adjusts her seatbelt. They have calluses on the palms. Small white scars on her knuckles. The kind of hands that work. That grip controls. That handle equipment. Those are pilot hands. You know because your brother is a pilot and his hands look the same. When the flight attendant comes by offering beverages, the woman opens her eyes. The flight attendant, a friendly Hawaiian woman in her 50s wearing the Aloha Airlines uniform, smiles warmly. Can I get you something to drink before we take off? Mai Tai? Orange juice? Water? The woman shakes her head. A single, efficient movement. No thank you. Her voice is quiet. Polite but distant. No smile. No small talk. Just a polite refusal. The flight attendant moves on. The woman closes her eyes again. Disappears back into her thoughts. You think, military. Has to be. Pearl Harbor Naval Base is nearby. Hickam Air Force Base 2. Hawaii is full of military personnel. Thousands of them. This is probably just another service member on leave. Trying to get some quiet time. Trying to decompress from whatever stressful job she does. Just wants to be left alone. You have no idea who she really is. You have no idea that her name is Lieutenant Lisa Han. You have no idea she is a United States Air Force test pilot. You have no idea her classified call sign is Ghost. You have no idea she has spent the last 18 months at Edwards Air Force Base in California flying aircraft that should not fly. Testing failure modes. Learning how damaged planes behave. Becoming one of the best test pilots in the entire Air Force. And you have absolutely no idea that in exactly 23 minutes and 41 seconds, this quiet woman in seat 12C will be the only reason anyone on this aircraft survives. The aircraft door closes with a solid thunk. The flight attendants begin their safety demonstration. Point to the exits. Demonstrate the oxygen masks. Show how to buckle and unbuckle the seatbelt. Almost no one pays attention. Everyone has seen it before. Too many times to count. The old Boeing 737 engines start with their distinctive high-pitched whine. A sound you have heard hundreds of times. Comforting. Familiar. Safe. At 1:25 p.m. exactly, Flight 243 pushes back from Gate 4. The tug pulls the aircraft backwards. Then disconnects. The plane begins to taxi under its own power. You flip through your magazine. An article about Maui hotels. Another about the best beaches on Kauai. You are not really reading. Just looking at pictures. Waiting for takeoff. Outside your window, other aircraft taxi past. A Hawaiian Airlines DC-10. An inter-island commuter plane. A United 747 getting ready for a flight to the mainland. The captain comes on the PA system. His voice is calm. Experienced. Good afternoon, folks. This is Captain Robert Skornsteimer. Welcome aboard Aloha Airlines Flight 243 to Honolulu. We have got good weather today. Clear skies. Light winds. Flying time will be about 35 minutes. We will be cruising at 24,000 feet. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the short flight. Flight attendants, prepare for departure. The aircraft turns onto the runway. Pauses. You feel the engine spool up. That familiar sensation of building power. Then the brakes release. The Boeing 737 begins to roll. Faster. Faster. You are pressed back into your seat. The runway lights flash past your window. Faster. Faster. And then you are airborne. The nose lifts. The wheels leave the ground. You watch through your window as helo drops away below. The airport. The town. The green mountains. All falling away. The Pacific Ocean spreads out beneath you. Beautiful. Endless. Blue. Everything feels normal. Routine. Safe. Just another quick island hop. Just another flight you have taken dozens of times before. Nothing special. Nothing unusual. Nothing to worry about. For exactly 23 minutes and 41 seconds, that is true. The woman in 12C. Lieutenant Lisa Hahn is 28 years old. She was born in San Francisco, California. Her parents immigrated from Taiwan before she was born. Her father was an engineer at Boeing. Her mother a mathematics professor at San Francisco State University. Lisa grew up around airplanes. Around engineering drawings and technical manuals. Around talk of wing loading and thrust-to-weight ratios. She was good at math. Exceptionally good. She could do complex calculations in her head that other students needed calculators for. She built her first model rocket at age 10. Her first radio-controlled airplane at age 12. By age 14, she was taking flying lessons at a small airport south of San Francisco. She got her private pilot license at age 17. Before she could drive a car, she could fly a Cessna 172. She graduated high school early. Applied to MIT. Got accepted with a full scholarship. Studied aerospace engineering. Top of her class all 4 years. Graduated summa cum laude at age 21. She could have gone to work for Boeing like her father. Or Lockheed. Or NASA. Any aerospace company would have hired her instantly. But she wanted to fly. Not design aircraft. Fly them. So at age 22, she joined the United States Air Force. Basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. She was one of only 3 women in her flight. The drill instructors were skeptical at first. This tiny Asian woman who looked like she might blow away in a strong wind. But she proved them wrong. She could do more push-ups than most of the men. Run faster. Work harder. She graduated as the honor graduate of her flight. Then to Vance Air Force Base in Oklahoma for pilot training. Undergraduate pilot training. UPT. One of the most intense programs in the military. Flying the T-37 Tweet. Then the T-38 Talon. Long days. Endless studying. Practice flights. Simulator sessions. Check rides that could end your career if you failed. Lisa excelled. She was a natural pilot. Smooth on the controls. Good situational awareness. Quick to learn. Strong under pressure. She graduated number 1 in her UPT class. Got her first choice of aircraft. She chose fighters. The F-16 Fighting Falcon. Fighter training. Learning to fly the Viper, as F-16 pilots call it. Learning air-to-air combat. Air-to-ground attack. Low-level navigation. Night flying. Formation flying. She loved every minute of it. The speed. The maneuverability. The challenge. After 2 years flying F-16s, she applied to the Air Force Test Pilot School at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Only the best pilots get selected. Only the best of the best. She was one of 3 women in her TPS class of 24 students. The instructors were the most experienced test pilots in the Air Force. Men who had flown everything. Who had pushed aircraft to their absolute limits. Test pilot school was harder than anything Lisa had ever done. It was not just about flying. It was about understanding aerodynamics at a deep level. Understanding structures. Propulsion. Systems. It was about scientific testing. Collecting data. Analyzing results. Writing detailed technical reports. It was about being an engineer who flies, not just a pilot. She graduated from TPS near the top of her class. Then stayed at Edwards as a test pilot. She flew everything they gave her. F-15 Eagles. F-16 Vipers. A-10 Warthogs. Even some experimental aircraft that did not have official names yet. Just project numbers. By age 27, she had logged 2,800 flight hours across dozens of different aircraft types. She was building a reputation as a skilled, careful test pilot who could handle difficult assignments. Who stayed calm under pressure. Who could fly things that other pilots said could not be flown. Then she volunteered for Project Phoenix. Project Phoenix is classified. Black budget. The program exists to answer a simple question: how much damage can a military aircraft sustain and still be flyable? In combat, aircraft get damaged. Battle damage. Bird strikes. Structural failures. The question is, can the pilot bring it home? Or do they have to eject? To find out, Project Phoenix deliberately damages aircraft and then flies them. They remove sections of wings. They cut holes in fuselages. They disable control surfaces. They create hydraulic failures. They induce engine failures. They do everything they can think of to break the aircraft. And then they fly it to see what happens. It is incredibly dangerous work. Most pilots refuse the assignment. The risk is too high. The margin for error too small. You are deliberately flying aircraft that should not fly. That the engineers say cannot fly. That physics says should not work. But someone has to do it. Because the data saves lives. Combat pilots learn from it. They learn what is survivable. What can be overcome. When to eject and when to try to bring the aircraft home. Lisa volunteered. Not because she had a death wish. She did not. She wanted to live. But she understood the value of the work. She understood that this research could save pilot lives. And she believed she could do it. Her MIT engineering degree gave her the theoretical knowledge. Her test pilot training gave her the skills. And something in her personality gave her the ability to stay calm when flying things that terrified everyone else. For 18 months, she flew damaged aircraft. She flew an F-16 with 30% of the left wing removed. Asymmetric lift. Constant roll tendency. Barely controllable. But she flew it. She flew a B-1 bomber with cracks in the fuselage. The structure flexing in ways it was never designed to flex. She flew fighters with hydraulic failures that left minimal control authority. Aircraft that responded sluggishly to control inputs. That felt dead on the controls. But she kept them flying. The engineers kept saying things like, "This should not work. This should not be possible. This aircraft should have fallen out of the sky." But Lisa kept proving them wrong. She found ways to fly the unflyable. She learned how to exploit every tiny bit of remaining control authority. How to use asymmetric thrust. How to fly partially on the rudder when the ailerons were damaged. How to use weight shift when nothing else worked. She developed an instinctive feel for damaged aircraft. She could tell when an aircraft was about to break. She could feel it through her hands on the stick. Through her feet on the rudder pedals. Through the vibration of the seat. Every aircraft talks to you if you know how to listen. Damaged aircraft scream. They tell you exactly how close they are to catastrophic failure. You just have to listen. Really listen. Other test pilots started calling her Ghost. Because she could fly aircraft that were already dead. Aircraft that by all rights should have crashed. But somehow, impossibly, she kept them in the air. She could find control authority that should not exist. Could exploit aerodynamic principles that most pilots never learn. Could read an aircraft failing in real time and adjust her technique before it broke completely. The call sign stuck. Ghost. Because she made the impossible look routine. Because she brought home aircraft that should have killed her. Now, at age 28, she has 400 hours of flying damaged aircraft. More than almost any pilot alive. She has created a database of failure modes. Data that is being used to train combat pilots. Data that has already saved lives when damaged aircraft returned from combat missions that would have resulted in ejections before. But the work is exhausting. Stressful. Every flight is life or death. Every flight pushes the limits. She has not taken leave in 6 months. She is tired. Burned out. So when her commander ordered her to take a week off, she did not argue. She flew commercial to Hawaii. Spent a few days on the Big Island. Did some hiking. Tried to relax. Tried not to think about damaged aircraft and failure modes and structural limits. Now she is on this commercial flight back to Honolulu. Then a flight to Los Angeles. Then a drive back to Edwards Air Force Base. Back to Project Phoenix. Back to flying things that should not fly. Right now, sitting in seat 12C, she is just trying to be a passenger. Just trying to zone out for 35 minutes. Eyes closed. Earbuds in. Not thinking about flying. Not thinking about work. Just existing. For 23 minutes and 41 seconds, she succeeds. Then she stops being a passenger. And becomes Ghost again. The cockpit, everything normal. Captain Robert Skornsteimer sits in the left seat of the Boeing 737 cockpit. He is 44 years old. Sandy-haired. Starting to go gray at the temples. Wearing his Aloha Airlines uniform with 4 stripes on the shoulders. He has been flying for Aloha for 16 years. Before that, he flew for the Navy. 28 years total flying experience. 8,500 flight hours. Next to him in the right seat is First Officer Madeline Tompkins. Everyone calls her Mimi. She is 36 years old. Brown hair pulled back in a bun. Also in uniform with 3 stripes. She has been with Aloha for 12 years. 8,000 flight hours. She is one of the most experienced first officers at the airline. They have flown together many times. They work well as a crew. Skornsteimer is calm. Methodical. By the book. Tompkins is sharp. Quick thinking. Good at catching mistakes before they become problems. A good team. Right now, they are flying a completely routine flight. Flight 243. Hilo to Honolulu. They fly this route multiple times per week. Sometimes multiple times per day. It is as routine as driving to work. The weather is perfect. Clear blue skies. Visibility unlimited. Light winds. No turbulence. Temperature at 24,000 feet is -10 degrees Celsius. Everything by the book. Everything normal. The aircraft is performing normally. All systems green. Engines running smoothly. Hydraulic pressure good. Electrical systems nominal. Fuel burn as expected. The autopilot is engaged. Holding altitude at 24,000 feet. Airspeed 345 miles per hour. Right on the flight plan. Skornsteimer adjusts the heading slightly. Checks the navigation display. They are on course. Honolulu is 22 minutes ahead. Honolulu Center, Aloha 243, level at 240, he reports on the radio. Aloha 243, Honolulu Center, Roger. Altimeter 29902, the controller responds. 29902, Aloha 243, Skornsteimer acknowledges. He adjusts the altimeter setting. Tompkins is reviewing the arrival procedures for Honolulu International Airport. The expected runway. The approach to fly. The taxi route to their gate. Standard stuff. She has done it hundreds of times. But she reviews it anyway. Good pilots always review. They never assume. They never get complacent. Skornsteimer takes a sip of coffee from his travel mug. It is lukewarm now. Not great. But serviceable. He glances out the window. The Pacific Ocean stretches to the horizon. Beautiful. He never gets tired of this view. Behind them, the cabin is quiet. The flight attendants have finished their service. Passengers are reading. Dozing. Looking out windows. A few children are coloring. Everything peaceful. Everything routine. Everything safe. In 90 seconds, everything will change. In 90 seconds, this routine flight will become one of the most famous aviation emergencies in history. In 90 seconds, Captain Skornsteimer and First Officer Tompkins will face a situation they have never trained for. A situation that should be impossible. A situation that will test every skill they have. But right now, everything is fine. Just another day. Just another flight. Skornsteimer picks up his flight plan. Reviews the fuel calculations. Checks the estimated time of arrival. All normal. All good. He sets the paperwork down. Looks out at the horizon. The Boeing 737 flies smoothly through the Hawaiian sky. 24,000 feet. 345 miles per hour. 89 souls aboard. Everything normal. For exactly 41 more seconds. At exactly 1:48 p.m., 23 minutes and 41 seconds after takeoff, at 24,000 feet over the Alanwehaha Channel between the Big Island and Maui, something terrible happens. There is no warning. No alert. No indication. One moment everything is normal. The next moment the world ends. Boom. An explosion of sound. Louder than anything you have ever heard. Louder than thunder. Louder than a gunshot. It is the sound of catastrophic structural failure. The sound of metal tearing. Of aluminum skin ripping like paper. An 18-foot section of the upper fuselage and roof tears away from the aircraft. Just rips off. Gone. From row 10 all the way back to row 19. Right above your head. The entire top of the Boeing 737. Just gone. Metal fatigue. After 89,090 flight cycles. After 35,496 flight hours. After 19 years of taking off and landing. After 19 years of pressurization cycles. After 19 years of salt air corrosion. The aluminum skin has simply had enough. It has cracked. Propagated. And now it has failed completely. Catastrophically. The roof peels back like the lid of a sardine can. The entire forward section of the aircraft is suddenly open to the sky. A convertible. A flying convertible at 24,000 feet traveling at 345 miles per hour. The cabin loses pressure instantly. Explosive decompression. The oxygen masks drop down from the overhead panels. Yellow plastic cups dangling on rubber hoses. They deploy automatically. But they are useless. Completely useless. Because there is no cabin anymore. No pressurized environment. You are in the open air at 24,000 feet. The wind. Oh God, the wind. 300 miles per hour. Hurricane force. No, beyond hurricane force. It screams through the cabin. A physical force. Like being hit by a freight train made of air. The noise is beyond deafening. It is overwhelming. All-consuming. You cannot hear anything else. Not the engines. Not people screaming. Just wind. Howling. Shrieking. Tearing. Papers fly into the air. Magazines. Cups. Napkins. Everything not secured instantly becomes a projectile. Carry-on bags explode from the overhead bins. Clothes fly out. Toiletries. Books. Everything. The cabin becomes a tornado of debris. You grab your armrests. Hold on with all your strength. The wind tries to suck you out of your seat. Tries to pull you toward the opening above. The seatbelt digs into your lap. Cutting into your skin. But you do not care. The seatbelt is the only thing keeping you from being sucked out into the sky. And then you see it. The worst thing. The most terrible thing. Flight attendant Clarabelle Lansing. Everyone calls her CB. She is 58 years old. Has been flying for Aloha for 37 years. She is standing in the aisle near row 5. Doing her job. Checking on passengers. Making sure everyone is comfortable. When the roof tears off, when the cabin decompresses, when the wind starts, she is right there. Standing. Unsecured. Nothing holding her down. The wind grabs her. Lifts her. She does not even have time to scream. One moment she is there. The next moment she is gone. Sucked out of the aircraft. Through the opening where the roof used to be. Into the sky. Into the 24,000-foot void. Gone. Just gone. In a fraction of a second. No warning. No chance. No time to grab anything or cry out or think. One moment alive. The next moment falling through the sky. The passengers who see it scream. Horror. Terror. Disbelief. But their screams are lost in the wind. Swallowed by the howling gale. No one can hear. No one can process what just happened. It is too terrible. Too sudden. Too impossible. You look up through your window. You can see the sky where the roof should be. You can see clouds. You can see the sun. You can see torn metal edges. Jagged. Sharp. Still vibrating from the force of the tear. You look forward. You can see all the way to the front of the cabin. You can see the cockpit door. You can even see into the cockpit itself. Because there are no rows of seats blocking your view anymore. Because those seats are gone. Ripped from their floor tracks. Some still attached to pieces of floor. Some completely gone. Sucked out into the sky along with CB Lansing. People are crying. Praying. Holding each other. A child screams for his mother. An older man grips his wife's hand so hard his knuckles are white. Everyone is certain they are about to die. Because this is impossible. You cannot fly an aircraft with no roof. You cannot survive at 24,000 feet in the open air. You cannot land like this. This is the end. But in Seat 12C, Lieutenant Lisa Hahn is not panicking. Her eyes snap open the instant she hears the boom. Her test pilot training kicks in immediately. Automatically. Without thought. She processes what has happened in less than a second. Explosive decompression. Structural failure. Major structural failure. Partial fuselage separation. She pulls out her earbuds. Unbuckles her seatbelt. Looks up at where the roof used to be. Sees sky. Sees torn metal. Sees the nose section barely connected to the rest of the aircraft. Just a thin strip of lower fuselage skin. Maybe 12 inches wide. That is all that is holding the front of the plane to the back. Her mind automatically begins calculating. She has flown damaged aircraft. She knows structural limits. She knows aerodynamics. She knows what should be possible and what should not be. Current airspeed, approximately 345 miles per hour. Too fast. Way too fast for this level of damage. Every second at this speed stresses the remaining connection. Putting enormous force on that thin strip of aluminum. It will fail. Soon. Current altitude, 24,000 feet. Too high. The air is too thin. Not enough oxygen. People will pass out. Need to descend. Get below 10,000 feet. Quickly. Time to catastrophic structural failure, she estimates 6 to 10 minutes. Maybe. If they are lucky. If the pilots do everything right. If they slow down. If they descend. If they can get on the ground before the nose section tears completely free. The pilots need help. They need someone who understands damaged aircraft. Someone who knows how to fly when structural integrity is compromised. Someone who has done this before. And she is the only person on this aircraft with that knowledge. The only person who has flown aircraft in this condition. The only person who might be able to help get everyone on the ground alive. She stands up. The wind tries to knock her down. 300 miles per hour hitting her like a physical wall. But she braces her legs. Leans into it. Uses her training. Balance. Core strength. She stays standing. She starts moving forward toward the cockpit. Hand over hand along the seat backs. Fighting the wind every step. Each movement deliberate. Controlled. No wasted motion. Just like she was trained. People stare at her. This tiny woman walking forward while everyone else is frozen in terror. Where is she going? What is she doing? Does she have a death wish? They do not know who she is. They do not know what she can do. They do not know she is about to save all their lives. In the cockpit, Captain Robert Skornsteimer and First Officer Madeline Tompkins are fighting for their lives. When the roof tore off, when the explosion happened, they were flying on autopilot. Everything normal. Everything routine. Then suddenly the world changed. The cockpit is still intact. Still pressurized. The cockpit door is closed. That saved them. Behind that door, the cabin is open to the sky. But in here, they still have pressure. They can still breathe. They can still function. But the aircraft is barely controllable. The autopilot disconnected immediately. Now Skornsteimer is hand-flying. Or trying to. The controls feel wrong. Mushy. Delayed. The aircraft does not respond normally. Of course it does not. Half the fuselage is gone. The aerodynamics are completely different. This is not the aircraft he trained on. This is something else. Something that should not fly. Tompkins is on the radio. Her voice is steady despite the terror she feels. Training. Experience. Professionalism. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Honolulu Center, Aloha 243. We have an emergency. Explosive decompression. Structural failure. We have lost the roof of the aircraft. There is a pause. The controller probably thinks he misheard. Lost the roof. That cannot be right. Aloha 243, Honolulu Center, say again your emergency. Honolulu Center, we have lost the roof of the aircraft. Explosive decompression. Structural failure. We need immediate vectors to the nearest suitable airport. We are declaring an emergency. Now the controller understands. His voice changes. Professional. Focused. All other traffic forgotten. This is the only thing that matters now. Aloha 243, roger your emergency. Nearest suitable airport is Kahului, Maui. Turn right heading 090 for Kahului. Distance 22 miles. Squawk 7700. Skornsteimer tries to turn. But the aircraft resists. The nose wants to drop. He pulls back on the yoke. Too hard. The nose pitches up too much. He corrects. Pushes forward. Too much. The nose drops. He is over-controlling. Fighting the aircraft instead of flying it. We are not going to make it, he says quietly. Not to Tompkins. Not to anyone. Just stating a fact. They are barely holding together. How can they possibly land? That is when the cockpit door opens. Lisa Hahn steps into the cockpit. She has fought her way through the wind-torn cabin. Climbed over debris. Pulled herself forward hand over hand. Now she is here. In the cockpit. The wind from the open cabin trying to suck her back out. She pulls the door closed behind her. Seals it. The wind noise reduces slightly. Not much. But some. Skornsteimer whips his head around. What the hell, get out of my cockpit. Get back to your seat. Lisa does not flinch. Does not back down. Her voice is calm. Authoritative. Command voice. The voice of someone used to giving orders. Captain, I can help you land this aircraft. Who are you? Get out. My name is Lieutenant Lisa Hahn, United States Air Force, test pilot, Edwards Air Force Base. I have 2,800 flight hours including 400 hours specifically testing structurally compromised aircraft in extreme failure scenarios. I know what you are dealing with because I have flown aircraft with partial fuselage separation in controlled test conditions. Let me help you. Skornsteimer stares at her. This tiny woman. Civilian clothes. Claims to be a test pilot. It sounds insane. It has to be insane. But something in her eyes. Something in her voice. Calm. Confident. Not panicked. Not terrified. Just calm. You are a test pilot? Yes, sir. Specialized in damaged aircraft flight testing. And right now you have approximately 8 minutes before aerodynamic stress causes complete structural separation between your nose section and the rest of the fuselage. But if you let me help coordinate this approach, I can get everyone on the ground alive. So the question is, do you trust me? Or do you want to try to figure this out yourself while 88 people die? It is a hell of a question. Trust this stranger. Let a passenger into the decision-making process. It violates every protocol. Every rule. Every regulation about cockpit security and crew resource management. But Skornsteimer looks at his instruments. Feels the aircraft struggling beneath his hands. Knows he is barely in control. Knows he has never trained for this. Knows he has no idea how to land an aircraft with no roof and a fuselage that might separate any second. He looks at First Officer Tompkins. Tompkins looks back at him. Then at Lisa. She sees something there. Competence. Knowledge. Experience. This woman knows something they do not. Something they desperately need. Captain, we need help. Right now, Tompkins says quietly. Skornsteimer makes his decision. Maybe the most important decision of his life. Trust this stranger. Break the rules. Accept help. Okay, Lieutenant. You have got 2 minutes to convince me you know what you are talking about. Start talking. Fast. Lisa steps forward. Positions herself between the two seats. Looks at the instruments. Feels the vibration through the floor. Reads the aircraft like she has done 100 times before in test flights. You have lost approximately 18 feet of upper fuselage. The nose section is connected to the rest of the aircraft by maybe 12 inches of lower fuselage skin on the belly. That is it. That connection is under immense aerodynamic stress right now. It will fail. The question is when. How long? Skornsteimer asks. At your current airspeed and configuration, 6 to 8 minutes. Maybe less. Jesus Christ, Tompkins whispers. What do we need to do? Skornsteimer asks. Lisa is all business now. This is what she was trained for. This is what she does. 3 things. First, slow down immediately. You are at 345 miles per hour. Every second at this speed is stressing that connection. You need to slow to 200 knots maximum. Slower if possible without stalling. Second, descend right now. Get below 10,000 feet where the air density increases and you will get better control authority. Also, you need to get to breathable air altitude for the passengers in the open cabin. Third, find the nearest runway and land this aircraft as fast as possible. No holding. No pattern work. No go-around option. Straight in approach. One shot. Because you will not have time for a second attempt. Skornsteimer looks at her. If I slow down too much, we will stall. If I descend too fast, the aerodynamic forces might rip the nose off right now. Correct. So you are going to do exactly what I tell you, when I tell you, because I have flown aircraft in worse condition than this and I know where the edge is. I know how much you can push before it breaks. Trust me or do not. But decide right now because every second we waste talking is a second closer to structural failure. Skornsteimer looks into her eyes. Sees absolute certainty. No doubt. No fear. Just confidence. This woman believes she can do this. And right now, that belief is all he has. Okay. Okay, Ghost. You are in command. Tell me what to do. Lisa nods once. First Officer, what is the nearest airport with a suitable runway? Tompkins checks the navigation display. Kahului, Maui. 22 miles. Runway 2, 6,995 feet long. Perfect. Long enough. Close enough. We can make that. Captain, I need you to start reducing power right now. Pull the throttles back 5% every 10 seconds. Watch your airspeed indicator carefully. Do not let it drop below 220 knots or the aircraft will stall. But get it down from 345. Slowly. Gently. No sudden movements. Skornsteimer reaches for the throttles. Begins pulling them back slowly. Lisa watches the airspeed indicator. 340 knots. 335, 330. 325. Good. Keep going. 320, 315. The aircraft vibration reduces slightly as the airspeed decreases. Less force on the damaged structure. Now start descending. Pitch down 1 degree. Descent rate 1,000 feet per minute. Gentle. Do not shock the airframe. Skornsteimer pushes the control yoke forward carefully. The nose dips. The altimeter begins unwinding. 23,900 feet. 23,800, 23,700. I am getting vibration, Skornsteimer reports. His voice tense. Lisa closes her eyes. Feels the vibration through her feet. Through the seat she is bracing against. She has felt this before. Knows what it means. That is the nose section flexing independently from the fuselage. It is normal for this type of structural damage. The connection is allowing some movement. That is actually good. If it was rigid, it would snap. The flex is absorbing some of the stress. Ignore the vibration. Keep flying. As they descend, Lisa keeps her eyes closed. Reading the aircraft through feel. This is what Ghost does. This is her skill. Feeling aircraft that are failing. Knowing what they are telling her. The vibration pattern changes slightly. Becomes more pronounced. Her eyes snap open. The structural connection is degrading faster than I initially calculated. The stress is propagating cracks. We do not have 8 minutes. We have 5. Maybe less. 5 minutes. Tompkins exclaims. Yes. Which means we are landing in 5 minutes. First officer, get on the radio. Tell Kahului Tower we need the runway clear immediately. No other traffic. Emergency equipment standing by. We are coming straight in. One approach. No go around. Tompkins keys the mic. Kahului Tower, Aloha 243, emergency. We have suffered catastrophic structural failure. We have lost the roof of the aircraft. Structural integrity is critical. Requesting immediate clearance for straight-in approach runway 2. We cannot execute a go-around. One attempt only. There is a pause. The tower controller trying to process what he just heard. Lost the roof. How is that possible? Aloha 243, Kahului Tower, say again. You lost your roof. Affirmative. 18 feet of upper fuselage gone. Explosive decompression. Barely holding together. Clear the pattern now. Copy Aloha 243. Runway 2 is yours. All other traffic is being diverted. Emergency services are rolling. Winds are 070 at 8 knots. You are cleared to land runway 2. Lisa continues coordinating the descent. Every instruction precise. Every correction exact. Current altitude. Passing 15,000 feet, Tompkins reports. Speed. 250 knots. Good. Maintain 250 until we reach 10,000 feet. Then slow to 220. Captain, the nose flexing is going to get worse as we descend. The air density increases. More aerodynamic force. You will feel it. Ignore it. Keep the descent steady. The aircraft descends through 12,000 feet. 11,000, 10,000. Then at 8,000 feet, there is a loud crack. The entire aircraft shudders violently. Skornsteimer grips the yoke harder. Tompkins gasps. What was that? Skornsteimer shouts. Lisa closes her eyes again. Feels the new vibration pattern. Knows immediately what happened. The lower fuselage connection just developed a crack. We are down to maybe half the original connection width. Structural integrity is compromised further. Time to failure is now 2 minutes. Maybe less. 2 minutes. Can we even make it in 2 minutes? Tompkins asks. If you do exactly what I tell you. Distance to the runway. 8 miles. Then we are going to make it. But we need to speed up the descent. No more gentle. We are now in a race. Landing versus structural failure. Captain, increase descent rate to 2,000 feet per minute. Push over now. That will stress the airframe even more. Skornsteimer protests. The airframe is already failing. We cannot save it. We can only try to get it on the ground before it breaks completely. Descend. Now. Skornsteimer pushes the yoke forward. The descent rate increases dramatically. 2,000 feet per minute. The vibration intensifies. The nose section is visibly moving now. Flexing. Bending. The remaining connection screaming under the stress. 5 miles from runway, Tompkins calls out. Altitude 4,000 feet. Gear down, Lisa orders. Gear down. Skornsteimer reaches for the landing gear lever. Pulls it. Feels the aircraft shudder as the gear extends into the 250-knot slipstream. The 3 green lights illuminate. Gear down and locked. Flaps 15. Flaps 15. The flaps extend. More drag. More lift. The nose wants to pitch up. Skornsteimer compensates. Slow to 180 knots. You are on profile. 3 miles from touchdown. Altitude 2,500 feet. Hold this descent rate. You are going to make it. The nose is moving. Skornsteimer says urgently. I can see it flexing. It is going to come off. I know. I can feel it. But it is holding. Just barely. Keep flying. 2 miles. You are almost there. The runway appears ahead. Concrete. Safety. Hope. 1 mile away. Half a mile, Tompkins calls. Altitude 500 feet. You are on glide path. Continue. 50 feet. Flare. Now. Skornsteimer pulls back gently on the yoke. The nose lifts. The descent rate decreases. The main landing gear is seconds from touchdown. Thump. The main gear hits the runway. Hard. Very hard. But down. On the ground. The impact sends a massive shockwave through the compromised structure. Another crack. Louder than before. The nose gear touches. Skornsteimer deploys the thrust reversers. Stands on the brakes. Maximum stopping effort. The Boeing 737 with its roof missing, with its nose barely attached, with its structure screaming in protest, rolls down runway 2 at Kahului Airport. Slowing. Slowing. 100 knots. 80 knots. 60 knots. 40 knots. Stop. The aircraft stops. On the runway. Intact. Damaged beyond belief but intact. 88 people alive. Against all odds. Against all engineering calculations. Against everything that should have been possible. Alive. Emergency vehicles surround the aircraft within seconds. Fire trucks. Ambulances. Police. Airport security. Everyone responding to the unprecedented emergency. The evacuation slides deploy from the doors. Passengers slide down. Stumbling. Crying. Hugging each other. Alive. They are alive. They cannot believe it. You slide down from your position near the tail. Your legs barely support you. You collapse on the tarmac. Look back at the aircraft. At the missing roof. At the torn metal. At the impossible damage. How did that fly? How did it land? It should not have been possible. In the cockpit, Skornsteimer sits frozen for a moment. His hands still gripping the yoke. His entire body shaking with adrenaline dump. They made it. Somehow they made it. He releases the yoke. Looks at his hands. They are trembling. He has been flying for 28 years. He has never experienced anything like that. Never thought he would. He unbuckles his harness. Turns to Lisa. This small woman who appeared in his cockpit. Who took command. Who told him exactly what to do. Who saved everyone. You saved everyone aboard this aircraft. Lisa is staring at the instruments. Processing. Reviewing every decision. Every instruction. Looking for mistakes. You flew it, Captain. I just provided technical advice. Technical advice? You told us exactly what to do. The speed. The descent rate. The timing. Everything. Every single thing you told us was exactly right. The aircraft behaved exactly as you predicted. You knew. How did you know? I told you. I test damaged aircraft. This is what I do. I fly things that should not fly. I learn how they behave. Today I just applied those lessons. Where did you learn to fly like that? What program are you in? Lisa looks at him. Classified. Edwards Air Force Base. That is all I can say. First Officer Tompkins reaches over and takes Lisa's hand. Shakes it firmly. Thank you. Thank you for being on our flight. Thank you for knowing what to do. Lisa nods. Then quietly exits the cockpit. Walks down the aisle through the devastated cabin. Steps onto the evacuation slide. Walks away before anyone can stop her. Before anyone can ask more questions. Before anyone can take her photo or get her name for media reports. She disappears into the crowd of survivors and emergency responders. Just another passenger. Just another survivor. Nothing special. Nothing noteworthy. Except she is not just another passenger. She is the ghost. And she just saved 88 lives. The investigation. Within hours, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board arrive from Washington, D.C. Lead investigator James Williams interviews everyone. Passengers. Flight attendants. Ground crew. Air traffic controllers. And of course the pilots. Captain Skornsteimer, we understand there was a third person in the cockpit during the emergency. Yes. Lieutenant Lisa Hahn. Air Force test pilot. She was a passenger. She came into the cockpit and helped us coordinate the entire approach. A passenger was giving you flight instructions. Not instructions. Advice. Technical advice. She understood the structural damage. She knew how the aircraft would behave. She told us the speeds to fly. The descent rates. The timing. Everything. And she was right about all of it. Without her, we would have crashed. I am absolutely certain of that. Where is she now? I do not know. She left immediately after we landed. Before we could properly thank her. Williams makes notes. Lieutenant Lisa Hahn. Air Force test pilot. He will need to interview her. Get her statement. Understand what happened in that cockpit. When the NTSB files their preliminary report that evening, it gets automatically flagged by Air Force security systems. Lieutenant Lisa Hahn. Project Phoenix. Classified Black Budget Program. Her name should not appear in public reports. This is a security breach. Within 6 hours, 2 Air Force officers arrive at Kahului Airport. Colonel Marcus Webb and Major Sarah Collins. Air Force Office of Special Investigations. We need to speak with Lieutenant Hahn immediately. She left. No one knows where she went, the NTSB investigator tells them. Find her. Now. This is a national security matter. They track her down within 2 hours. She checked into a hotel in Kahului under her own name. Room 412. Colonel Webb and Major Collins knock on the door. Lisa opens it. Sees the uniforms. Knows immediately why they are there. I know. I violated security protocols. Project Phoenix is classified. I exposed the program by revealing my involvement. I am getting court-martialed, correct? Colonel Webb steps into the room. Major Collins follows. They close the door. Actually, Lieutenant, we are here because the Pentagon wants answers. They want to know, who are you? How did you do what you did? How did you land an aircraft that should have crashed? Lisa sits on the bed. Explains everything. The 18 months of Project Phoenix. The hundreds of flights in damaged aircraft. Learning how they behave. How to read them. How to fly them when they should not fly. Today I just applied those lessons to a commercial aircraft. That is all. Colonel Webb leans forward. Lieutenant, you made split-second decisions about structural integrity that saved 88 lives. You flew, essentially by proxy through the pilots, an aircraft that by all engineering calculations should have broken apart. You did it for an aircraft type you have never flown before, in a failure mode that has never been tested, with no preparation time, under maximum stress. The Pentagon wants to understand how the training works. Project Phoenix works. The data we collect saves lives. That is how. But you miscalculated the timeline. You said 8 minutes. It was actually 5. I know. I was wrong. I underestimated the crack propagation rate in the lower fuselage connection. People could have died because of that error. Major Collins shakes her head. But they did not die. You recognized the error. You adjusted the plan. You increased the descent rate. You got them down in time. You adapted to new information in real time. That is what good pilots do. Barely. We barely made it. Colonel Webb studies her. Lieutenant, the Pentagon has a question for you. Do you want recognition for this? Do you want to be a hero? Do you want medals and media attention and public acknowledgement? Lisa looks at him. Does not hesitate. No. Why not? Because Project Phoenix is classified for good reasons. If the public knows we are deliberately flying damaged aircraft, they will panic. They will question military aviation safety. They will demand the program be shut down. And that program is saving lives. Combat pilots are using our data to bring home damaged aircraft instead of ejecting. I am not going to compromise that for 15 minutes of fame. Webb nods. Good answer. Because here is what is going to happen. The NTSB final report will credit Captain Skornsteimer and First Officer Tompkins for extraordinary skill in successfully landing a catastrophically damaged aircraft. Your name will be redacted from all public documents. You will receive a classified commendation that cannot be worn on your uniform or mentioned in public. And you will never, under any circumstances, speak publicly about what happened today. Is that clear? Crystal clear, sir. You saved 88 lives, Lieutenant. But the Air Force needs you to remain a ghost. Can you do that? Lisa looks at her hands. The calloused palms. The small scars. The hands of a pilot who flies damaged aircraft. Yes, sir. Ghost is what I do. 6 months later. The National Transportation Safety Board releases its final report on Aloha Airlines Flight 243. Finding: metal fatigue caused catastrophic structural failure of the upper fuselage. Contributing factors: corrosion due to salt air exposure. Inadequate inspection protocols for aging aircraft. Recommendation: All aging aircraft must undergo enhanced structural inspections. New protocols for detecting metal fatigue. Mandatory retirement age for high-cycle aircraft. The report credits the extraordinary skill and professionalism of Captain Robert Skornsteimer and First Officer Madeline Tompkins for successfully landing the aircraft despite catastrophic damage. Lieutenant Lisa Hahn's name appears nowhere. Redacted. Classified. Erased. Lisa returns to Edwards Air Force Base. Back to Project Phoenix. Back to flying damaged aircraft. Back to testing failure modes. Back to pushing limits. But something has changed. Before Aloha 243, Project Phoenix was an abstract research program. Data collection. Scientific testing. Important work, yes, but academic. Theoretical. Now she knows it is real. The data saves lives. The lessons matter. She has seen it firsthand. Lived it. Felt it. Every test flight now has new meaning. Every damaged aircraft she flies. Every data point she collects. Somewhere, someday, a pilot will need this knowledge. Will use it to bring a damaged aircraft home. Will save lives because of what she learns. 6 months after Aloha 243, Colonel Webb appears at her office at Edwards. Lieutenant Hahn, I wanted to update you on something. The data you collected from the Aloha experience, your observations about fuselage flex, structural degradation rates, control authority in compromised aircraft, we have incorporated all of it into the Project Phoenix database. Good. That is what it is for. And we have had 2 separate incidents where combat pilots used that data to successfully recover damaged aircraft. An F-16 with battle damage over Iraq. An A-10 with structural compromise from a surface-to-air missile. Both pilots brought their aircraft home instead of ejecting. Both are alive because of what you learned that day. Lisa is quiet. Processing this information. I almost got 88 people killed because I miscalculated the structural timeline. But you did not get them killed. You recognized the error. You adapted. You saved them. And now you have saved 2 more pilots by sharing what you learned. That is 3 separate incidents. 90 total lives. Plus your own. That is what Ghost does, Lieutenant. You fly the unflyable and bring people home. Lisa looks at Colonel Webb. Ghost is just a call sign. No, Lieutenant. It is who you are. 1 year after Aloha Flight 243, Lisa receives an envelope in the mail. No return address. Just her name on the front in neat handwriting. She opens it. Inside is a single handwritten letter. Lieutenant Hahn, I do not know if this letter will reach you. I do not even know if you will read it. But I needed to say thank you. You saved 88 lives that day. My life. Mimi's life. Michelle Becklin and her baby in row 7B. Everyone. I have been flying for 30 years. I thought I knew everything about aviation. But I did not know how to fly a damaged aircraft. You did. I do not know what program you are in. I do not know what you do at Edwards. But I know this, the world needs more pilots like you. Pilots who can do the impossible when it matters most. Thank you for being in seat 12C that day. Thank you for walking into my cockpit when everyone else was frozen with fear. Thank you for knowing what to do. You are a hero, even if no one else will ever know it. Sincerely, Captain Robert Skornsteimer. Lisa reads the letter 3 times. Then carefully folds it. Files it away in a drawer in her quarters. Some things do not need to be public to matter. Some recognition is private. Personal. And that is enough. 2 years later, Edwards Air Force Base. Hangar 7. A classroom for new test pilots. Lisa Hahn, now Captain Hahn, stands at the front. She has been promoted. is now teaching. Training the next generation of test pilots. My name is Captain Lisa Han. My call sign is Ghost. Today we are going to talk about flying damaged aircraft. Specifically, what to do when structural integrity is compromised and you have no manual, no procedures, and no time to think. She pulls up a slide on the screen. A photograph of Aloha Airlines Flight 243. The roof torn off. The nose section barely attached. Metal twisted and broken. But somehow, impossibly, intact enough to land. This aircraft landed safely with 88 people aboard. Against all odds. Against all engineering calculations. It should have crashed. But it did not. One of the young test pilot students raises his hand. Nervous. Eager. Fresh from the fleet. Captain, is it true you were aboard that flight? Lisa pauses. Looks at the student. Then at the photo on the screen. I was. As a passenger. And is it true you helped land it? That information is classified. But it is true. You were there. Lisa looks at the photograph. Remembers the wind screaming through the cabin. The vibration through her feet. The certainty that everyone was about to die. Remembers Captain Skornsteimer trusting her. A stranger in civilian clothes making impossible claims. Remembers feeling the aircraft straining. Braking. Screaming. Remembers the moment the wheels touched the runway. Alive. All 88 people alive. What is true is this: damaged aircraft can be flown if you understand their limits. If you can read them. If you can feel what they are telling you. What is true is that test pilot training saves lives in ways you will never get public credit for. What is true is that you are here to learn how to fly things that should not fly. And if you learn well, if you pay attention, if you master this skill, someday you might save lives. Many lives. And nobody except you will ever know. And that has to be enough. Another student asks, is it enough for you, Captain? Lisa smiles slightly. Ask me in another 18 months. She looks at her students. Young pilots. Brave. About to learn things that will terrify them. About to fly aircraft that should not fly. About to become ghosts themselves. Now. Let us talk about how to fly an aircraft with partial fuselage separation. The theory. The practice. The feel. Because someday, somewhere, a pilot is going to need this exact knowledge. They will be in an aircraft that is breaking apart. They will have minutes to live. And they will remember what we teach them here. They will remember how to read the vibrations. How to feel the stress. How to know when the aircraft is about to fail. And they will bring their aircraft home. Even if it is already dead. Even if everyone says it is impossible. Because that is what ghosts do. We fly the unflyable. We save the unsavable. We do the impossible. And we never get credit. And that is okay. Because we do not do this for credit. We do this because lives matter. Because pilots matter. Because bringing people home matters. That is what it means to be Ghost.